Good morning. It's April 3rd here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. We start here on the Korean Peninsula with a rare allied drill between South Korea, the U.S., and Japan. The Trilateral Maritime drills are set to be staged from today, involving America's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the U.S.'s Nimitz, which could give North Korea more reason to flaunt their military ambitions and launch provocations. The on-site inspection team from the Bureau of International Day Expositions is in South Korea to evaluate if the city of Busan is the most suitable and desirable venue for the World Expo 2030. Korea is confident the city is more ready than ever to host the global event. Spring wildfires raged across the nation over the weekend. Authorities have resumed operations to put out the fires, and some schools are shut in the Hongseong area on Monday. Amid dry air and strong winds, dozens of wildfires have broken out in parts of South Korea, with containment efforts continuing into this Monday morning. One of the biggest blazes reported was at a mountain in Hongseong County in the country's central Chungcheongnam-do province, prompting authorities to issue the highest level 3 wildfire warning. As of 5 a.m., around 65% of the fire has been extinguished, and another level 3 wildfire broke out in the city of Daejeon, about 62% of which is under control. More than 1,000 people have been evacuated from the two fires. A level 3 warning is issued when a wildfire affects an area of more than 100 hectares or when it takes more than 24 hours to contain. In the meantime, authorities have nearly fully extinguished the wildfire in Seoul that started at Inwang Mountain. South Korea reported more than 30 cases of fires on Sunday alone. President Yoon Suk-yeol was on a tour of the southern regions of South Korea over the weekend, engaging with locals in both liberal and conservative strongholds while pledging support for local industries. Our Oh Soo-young has more.
Throwing out the first ceremonial ball to mark the new baseball season this year, President Yoon Suk-yeol was on a weekend run to cover all major political bases in the south. Attending the Korea Baseball Organization's opening day game in the city of Daegu between the NC Dinos and the home team's Samsung Lions, Yoon's office said the president's pitching posture sparked a buzz among the Generation Z and millennial age groups. But the ball wasn't all that he was pitching in his local brand baseball shoes. Touring the southern inland regions of the country, Yoon reached out to both conservative and liberal strongholds, meeting with locals and pledging measures to prop up the domestic economy. After showing support for local fishermen in the southern city of Dongyang, the president made his way to the traditionally liberal Honam area, comprising Gwangju City and Jeollabuk-do and Jeollanam-do provinces. Kicking off an International Garden Expo, the president said he would actively support local economic growth by revitalizing domestic tourism, which suffered a decline over the years of the COVID-19 pandemic and because of the growing preference for overseas travel. It was Yoon's first trip since taking office to the Jeollanam-do province.
자연과 문화가 어우러진 순천만에 오니 따뜻한 봄의 정취가 느껴집니다. 순천이 호남과 대한민국 발전의 핵심 거점이 되도록 제대로 챙기겠습니다.
The president resumed his trip on Saturday, walking into the 100th anniversary ceremony of Seomun Market in Daegu City, a major conservative stronghold. Instead of reaching the market entrance by car as planned, Yoon stepped out of the vehicle to greet citizens with handshakes as he made his way on foot.
늘 힘이 되어주신 여러분의 손을 잡고 다시 대한민국, 새로운 국민의 나라를 만들기 위해 발이 닳도록 뛰겠습니다.
Yoon once again highlighted the government's economic growth drive to promote local consumption as well as exports. He vowed to stand by merchants and citizens and strengthen the workings of liberal democracy, market economy and the rule of law to create a fair and just system that rewards hard work and improves livelihoods. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Now, the first week of April is quite a crucial week for South Korea. The inspection team from the BIE is here in the country to begin their sixth-year review to see if the city of Busan is suitable and fully capable of hosting the World Expo 2030. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
The Bureau International des Expositions, or BIE, which is the intergovernmental organization in charge of overseeing and regulating World Expos, arrived in South Korea on Sunday to inspect the country's port city of Busan, which is looking to host the World Expo 2030. The inspection team will stay in Busan for 6 days and 5 nights and will evaluate the hosting capacity and preparations done by the city. During their stay, the team will also meet with President Yoon Southern, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, as well as other ministers. The city of Busan, meanwhile, is hoping to show the inspection team that is fully capable of hosting a major event like the World Expo, while also differentiating itself from other candidates. Busan faces competition from Rome, Odessa, and Riyadh. With a tight race amongst the finalist cities expected, the inspection is all the more important as the report will be made available to the 171 member countries of the BIE, which will then review it before voting for a winner at the November general meeting. Watchers say the Ukrainian city of Odessa's hosting of the World Expo 2030 would be symbolic considering the current geopolitical crisis, while others say that Riyadh is leading this four-way race. However, South Korea remains hopeful as sources say that the inspection team was disappointed over the lack of preparation and proper infrastructure in place during its recent visit to Riyadh. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Saudi Arabia and other members of the OPEC Plus oil producers announced that they will voluntarily cut oil production in an effort to support the stability of the oil market. Now, this is expected to lead to a rise in oil prices and further strain ties with the U.S. Our Peunji reports.
Members of the OPEC Plus, made up of major oil producers and Russia, have announced their price cuts of around 1.16 million barrels per day. Saudi Arabia state media said Sunday that the country will be cutting its oil output by 500,000 barrels per day, starting next month, until the end of this year. The Saudi Energy Ministry described the move as a precautionary measure, aimed at supporting the stability of the oil market. It also explained this is in addition to a reduction announced by the OPEC Plus nations last October, when they agreed to an output cut of 2 million barrels per day that angered the Biden administration. To deal with soaring oil prices following the war in Ukraine, the U.S. has been arguing that the world needs lower oil prices to support economic growth and prevent Russian President Vladimir Putin from earning more revenue to fund the war. Iraq also announced it'll cut oil production by 211,000 barrels per day starting May. The UAE, Kuwait, Algeria, and Oman will also be making cuts in oil production. The Russian government also says Sunday local time that Moscow would extend a voluntary cut of 500,000 barrels per day until the end of 2023. Analysts say the latest move from the oil producers is expected to push up oil prices, which are currently at about $80 a barrel. The head of investment firm Pickering Energy Partners told Reuters that prices could jump by $10 per barrel. Peunji, Arirang News.
Following the joint drills between South Korea and the U.S., Trilateral Maritime exercises are set to begin involving the two allies and Japan. Now, this show of alliance will come for the first time in half a year. What does it mean for the Korean Peninsula? For more, let's turn to Mr. Frank Zanuzzi, president of the Marin and Mike Mansfield Foundation. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning. First off, what is the significance of joint exercises between the three sides coming at this time of the year?
Well, these trilateral exercises are really a critical show of alliance solidarity in the face of North Korean missile launches and other provocative behavior. As you well know, and as I think your viewers also fully appreciate, for many years, the ROK Japan-US triangle has suffered from difficulties in the ROK-Japan relationship. And as President Yoon and Prime Minister Kishida have moved closer together in the face of common security threats, these trilateral exercises reflect a new spirit of solidarity, and resilience in the face of continued North Korean missile launches, including last year's record-setting 75 missile launch events.
Right. Speaking of missile launches from North Korea, the month of March, last month, was full of North Korean provocations. Now, should we expect more of the same in April, especially following the trilateral drill, which is set to begin today? I mean, what kind of threats are likely to come from the North?
Well, it's important to appreciate that what we see as a provocation from the North, they see as a response to Allied defensive drills. And I'm sure that from Pyongyang, the Allied military exercises themselves, which are defensive in character, appear to be provocative. So I think it's essential that we appreciate what the North is and is not doing. I don't think they're trying to provoke a response. I think they're trying to demonstrate their own readiness in the face of a very difficult security situation for Pyongyang. That said, we should expect more of the same, as long as the United States and its allies continue to ensure that we are prepared for any eventuality on the peninsula. The North Koreans will do the same. And what is really necessary here is a diplomatic strategy to complement the strong defensive posture that President Biden, President Yoon, and Prime Minister Kishida are forging in Northeast Asia.
Right. As you just mentioned, the summit, the drill also comes after the summit between South Korean leader Yoon Southern and his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. Now, what does Seoul, Washington, Tokyo joint training say about the trilateral ties and cooperation between the three countries? Will there be more drills like this in the near future? What do you think?
I think there will be. At a Mansfield Foundation Track 2 meeting last summer held in Hawaii with thought leaders from all three countries, it was very clear that we have shared security interests, shared values, and shared economic interests, which are going to be pursued into the future. And I believe that the trilateral military exercises that we are seeing now in the naval theater will be matched by missile defense exercises, as well as intelligence sharing, deepening of communications links, use of satellites and other devices in order to monitor North Korean ballistic missile activity, and so on. So I think you will see a tightening of the triangular relationship among the three countries. And I think that this will bolster both the extended nuclear deterrence of the United States as well as the conventional deterrent power of the three allied nations.
Right. It is a rare show of alliance between the three countries, so we'll keep a close eye on that. All right, Mr. President Danuzi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
감사합니다. Thank you very much.
BTS member Jimin's first solo album titled Face has debuted at #2 on Billboard 200 chart, making him the first K-pop solo artist to achieve the feat. According to Billboard, his debut solo album sold 124,000 physical copies in the first week of release, marking the third highest sales for any artist in 2023. Now, Jimin came in just behind American country singer Morgan Wallen's album at the top of the Billboard 200 chart. And Jimin's solo track Set Me Free Part 2 also debuted at #30 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. South Korea's traditional home of tea cultivation, Hadong County in Gyeongsangnam-do in the south is busy preparing for the upcoming 2023 Hadong World Tea Expo. On Saturday, leaving roughly a month until the expo, the organizers promoted the event in central Seoul, holding a historical ceremony of serving tea with Hadong origins to a king, like it was done during the Joseon dynasty. Since more than 1,000 years ago, Hadong has been cultivating high-quality tea, which is now distributed to Starbucks outlets around the world. The first of its kind in the country, the Hadong World Tea Expo will be held from May 4th to June 3rd. After attracting a record number of users during the pandemic, local delivery apps have lost many of those users, with more people enjoying outings and eating out. High inflation isn't making the situation any better. In an effort to turn the situation around, delivery app companies are turning to various measures to attract more users. Our Young reports.
The growth of delivery app companies in South Korea stopped as people returned to normal life and dining out more frequently. On top of that, consumers have been abandoning delivery apps due to soaring delivery fees amid high inflation.
I used to order through a delivery app during the COVID-19 pandemic, but these days everything's gotten so expensive, including delivery fees, that I found myself cooking at home more often instead.
When ordering delivery food, I would spend less than $15 or under in the past. But now, as I have to spend more than that, I tend to take food out or only use the app when I'm with others.
In fact, according to Mobile Index, a big data analysis company, the three major delivery apps in South Korea posted an on-year decrease of nearly 20% in monthly active users in February. That's about 6.6 million fewer users compared to the previous year. The number dropped below the 30 million level for the first time in 2 years after reaching a peak of 36.8 million in December 2021.
With more consumers burdened by delivery costs, some restaurants have been offering discounts to reduce delivery fees.
You can easily see posters in front of restaurants that say customers can order food at cheaper prices if they visit and take their food out without ordering via a delivery app. This also comes as platform commission fees have become a burden for restaurant owners as delivery costs soar. In response, delivery app companies have come up with measures to cut delivery fees, such as through bundled deliveries where they deliver to multiple locations in one journey. It's a huge change compared to the past when companies competed in the market for single-item deliveries. Meanwhile, one expert forecasts the drop in users will continue for a while.
Young members of the MZ generation who want convenience are the ones who order delivery food the most. Under a new bundle delivery service, which takes longer to get the meal, more people will take food out, leading to a further decrease in the number of app users.
She added that delivery app firm sales had grown fivefold over 3 years. But it will be tough to increase or even maintain those sales as consumer lifestyles shifted offline. 신하영, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Matthew Ashley, and we now turn over to stories from around the world. We begin in Russia, where a bombing at a cafe has killed a prominent military blogger and wounded over 24 people. The blast took place in Russia's second largest city of St. Petersburg on Sunday local time. According to officials, military blogger Vladlen Tatarsky was killed while leading a discussion at the cafe, which was organized by a pro-war group, Cyberfront Z. Now, it's believed that an explosive device was hidden in a small statue that was gifted to him by a woman attending the event. Russian authorities have said they are treating the case as a suspected murder, and the group has called it a terrorist attack. Tatarsky gained popularity after Russia invaded Ukraine, providing commentary and analysis on the war to his more than 500,000 Telegram followers. Meanwhile, in the United States, at least 32 people have been killed after a series of tornadoes tore through cities and towns in the country's south and Midwest over the weekend. The fatalities occurred in the states of Arkansas, Tennessee, Illinois, Indiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. The death toll comes after a storm system battered the affected regions on Friday local time, with Missouri and Wisconsin also affected. According to the U.S. National Weather Service, at least 80 tornadoes have been recorded since Friday. Governors of Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, and Arkansas have announced emergency or disaster declarations in order to gain immediate access to assistance. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden on Sunday issued a major disaster declaration for Arkansas, freeing up federal resources for the state. In other news, Oscar-winning Japanese composer Ryuichi Sakamoto has died at the age of 71. According to Sakamoto's agency, he died on Tuesday following a battle with cancer. Sakamoto won an Oscar, a Golden Globe and a Grammy for his 1987 movie composition work on The Last Emperor, in which he also had an acting role. He also starred alongside the late David Bowie in the 1983 film Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, for which he wrote the music theme. Sakamoto was born in Tokyo in 1952, and in 1978 he co-founded Yellow Magic Orchestra, an influential electronic act. Now, despite his passing, it is not the last time we have heard from Sakamoto, as an album by the composer titled Travisia is set to be released on May 5th. And finally, an artist unveiled a baby replica of the iconic Eiffel Tower over the weekend in the French capital of Paris. It's called the Eiffela and was revealed to the public on Saturday local time after being set up overnight. Now located in Paris's Champs-de-Mars Park, opposite the real Eiffel Tower, the 32-meter structure can appear to match its 330-meter tall counterpart in size when viewed from a certain angle. In keeping with the baby concept, the replica emits the sound of a crying baby every 10 minutes, which is then followed by a lullaby. Weighing over 20 tons, the iron replica took a year to make and is made up of 3,900 larger pieces and 9,000 smaller pieces.
Good morning. Much of Korea is on high alert against wildfires. Over the weekend, 30 wildfires were reported in the capital region and Chungcheongdo provinces, which are very rare to around this time of year because usually East Coast areas have more frequent reports of wildfire. And it's going to be warmer in the western regions with stronger wind today, so please be extra careful with anything that could cause a blaze. Do not sacrifice your or your family's safety and livelihood by being careless with fire. Meanwhile, we had some picture-perfect weather nationwide over the weekend. Warmer temperatures under sunny skies and even the air quality was good to normal. It's going to be a repeat of yesterday for many, while western parts of the country will be hotter than yesterday, then much hope for rain tomorrow will bring relief from that ongoing heat. Now, Seoul sees a high of 27 degrees Celsius this afternoon, Gwangju at 25, but eastern parts of Korea will have highs in the upper teens to low 20s this afternoon under sunny skies with decent air quality nationwide. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That wraps up today's New Day at Arirang. We'll be back tomorrow for Tuesday's edition at the same time. Do stay with us for more updates throughout the day. Thanks for watching.
I'm live!
저를 도와주시는 분들이
저희와 함께 해줄 수 있는 세션 분들
아무리 봐도 없지. 텐션 같은데 아니라고 아무도 안 하는 거고.